So where we left off was we wrote our first little link query. Now when I say link, it's like this, LINQ. So link is the SQL-ish language we use to pull data from the database in .NET. And so we've pulled a little set here by going to our database instance, going to the table applications, adding on a where we're only going to show those that are not creepers and stalkers, and then ordering those by last name. We've made that into a list, and then I want to do something here. So I'm going to return to a view, and the view I want to return to is waitlist. So again, I can actually type in waitlist if I want to, or I can just leave it blank, and because it knows it's going to waitlist, then because it's blank, it's going to follow the view that matches with the action, then I can do that as well. But I want to see this loaded up, so I'm gonna come in here, and we have to actually get away. I didn't think about this. How do we get to waitlist? Now we can do it just by virtue of the fact that we put in our program CS file, we set up a pattern. And the pattern says if I type in the name of a controller and the name of an action, go to that controller and action. And I put in here ID 2, but the question mark says I may not enter that. So I may not have an ID. That's okay. So by virtue of the fact that I have in here this pattern, then I can get to the wait list, assuming it runs at some point. Got it. Not the fastest program in the world, but what it lacks in speed, it makes up for in a whole bunch of other stuff. So if I come in now because of that pattern and I type in home/waitlist, then it will take me to that action. Now, currently, I put a breakpoint in there so we could stop and take a look and see what did it load up. And I just realized I made a boo-boo. I made an error, and there was no one to correct me on it. And the error is this. I'm going and building this thing, but I never put it anywhere. So just like in a variable, it's being built, but it's not being stored anywhere. And so the piece I was missing here, and I thought this statement looked a little funny, was to have somewhere to put it. Now, there's lots of different types we can use, but there is, just like you've used in JavaScript or other languages, there is a var. And so var will detect what type of information it is. And I can say var applications equals, and then it's now going to take this and store it. And so let me rerun this with that in there. And again, it's kind of goofy that I make these little mistakes, but I think it's also good to point this stuff out. So home/waitlist, we'll call that action. And now I can do what I wanted to do, which was to hover over applications, or I can go down here and do the same thing and see what's in there. So I go to applications, drop it down, raw view, and I say, go give me the non-public, no, that's not it. Go give me the, let's try, take two. Raw view, static members, non-public members, and then there's this array of information. Do we not have anything on our database right now? We might not. I didn't think about that. Oh man, here's where I gotta get creative again. Let's go look and see. We need to have some information in our database, or this is gonna make no sense whatsoever. And so I've got my little database open, apparently, because it's got these other two files it builds when it's open, but where is it open? I can't see it on my little bar. Let's see what happens if I reopen. So in the applications, I can see that information there, but if I go to browse data, there is no data there. And so I need to enter a few, and I can do that using my app, or I'm just going to try and make it faster by coming in here and entering it in. So now help me out. So when in doubt, go with a TV show you know. And so I'll enter some names in here. Michael Bluth. Age, I don't know how old he is. He's probably 40-ish at the time. Phone number. let's see. Oh man, see, so bad with creative. We're just going with the 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then the next one we'll do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. What would Michael Bluth major in? Wasn't he he was like a business major, just general business. Creeper Stalker, no, he's a great guy. Okay, so enter. All right, so then if I want to add another record, we will use Job Bluth. Was he older or younger? I think he was the older brother. Let's say he was 43. 111, 111, 1111. And what would he major in? Magic, of course. Creeper Stalker. Yeah, well, he might be a Creeper Stalker. Now remember, we're not doing true false here because of the way that in different database systems we do true or false. In SQLite that we're using, then it's a 1 or a 0. And actually, I think the 1 is the true, and the 0 is false. Okay, so let's do one more, just to make sure we got some data in there. Maybe my personal favorite, George Michael Bluth. And he was a teenager, so what is he, like 16, let's say? 222, 222, 2222. Oh, it's so stressful, or so not stressful to just be able to do that instead of make something up. George Bluth, what would he major in? Banana stand. All right, so Creeper Stalker, no. George is awesome. So 0 there. Okay, so now we've got some data in our database. Let's go ahead and close that. It always asks me if I want to save, and I always doubt myself because in other database systems, when you save, you're saving the structure, but in SQLite, I think we might actually be saving the data. I should find that out before I record the next video. Okay, let's run this app yet again. We've gone nowhere in terms of writing additional code, and we're running out of time, but we're going to get to the point I want to make at some point. So home dot, help me out, wait list. And now we get to the view, and maybe we'll actually see something in here. So now, applications, and there we go. Okay, so within the applications, we can see these different instances that contain that information, and they are now in a class because they've been pulled from the database and put into an instance of a class of an application. And now that we have those applications loaded up, we can take and pass those, so applications, to the view. Now, a couple things that may be confusing to you. First of all, the one I wanted to hit on is that I typed in manually home/waitlist at the browser. And I've already seen this. Sometimes students get confused. In my program CS file, I said home index. But this equal sign portion is the default. But what it's looking for is, first, is just did you give me the name of a controller and did you give me the name of an action? That's the pattern. And then if the user did not specify a controller or an action, that's where these equal signs come into play. So really the pattern is controller, action, and then we're just saying if they don't enter anything, let's just use home and index. Okay, so that's one thing that might be confusing. The other thing that might be confusing is in the controller, wait a second, I thought I was passing in the name of a view. But remember that this view is overloaded. So this view, it's got 3 different overloads. One is, and it's saying it right there, I can pass in an object that represents the model. The other ways I can do it, gotta hover appropriately here. The other ways I can do it is to pass in the name of the view, or the other way I can do it is to pass in the name of the view and then the name of the model. It'll take any of those 3 ways and it'll work with it. And so I can put it in like this without putting the view name in because it will default to that waitlist name, but now I'm passing in the applications. Let's go make it connect on the other side, on the waitlist side, in the next video. Spencer out.